Different year, different tournament, different country, different players, same result. England brought one of the most gifted teams to a World Cup. They've shown us that the team really knows how to play and are specialists in every area of the field. Hands down, they have one of the most vocal fan bases online and in real life, and have subsequently been knocked out prematurely. Sound familiar? Well, that's because I'm not talking about any World Cup in particular. I'm talking about just about all of them. As a matter of fact, no other team has been knocked out of the quarterfinals of a World Cup more times than England, with 7. Welcome to Football Legacy. Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the notifications because we have a lot of content coming your way and you don't want to miss out. England on the international stage have certainly improved over the past few tournaments, and the unity around the team is visibly less toxic than it was in the 2000s. But if they want football to come home, there's still a lot of legwork that needs to be done. Different day, same result. The turn of the century brought with it arguably England's greatest collective unit ever. On the domestic scene, Premier League clubs were dominating European competitions. In the 10 years between 2000 and 2010, English sides featured in the European Cup final 6 times, with an All-English final too. Ironically, that All-English final was in 2008, the same year that England failed to qualify for the Euros. But this video is about the World Cup. Regardless, fortunes in the World Cup pretty much remain consistent. England brings a great team, only for them to fall apart due to some sort of drama or freak event. 2002. England struck first in the quarterfinals against Brazil, only for Brazil to overturn the deficit and for Ronaldinho to score a free kick he had no right scoring. David Seaman was basically in Brazil's half, that far off his line. Also, Dino got himself a red card in the 57th minute, but England failed to capitalize. 2006, another quarterfinals defeat. Wayne Rooney didn't like the idea of Ricardo Carvalho having kids, so he gave him a bit of a stomp, which I think was unintentional, but that's up to interpretation. The Portuguese players crowd the ref, with Rooney's Manchester United teammate Cristiano Ronaldo leading the disgruntled crowd. Rooney's not a fan of what's going down and gets physical with Ronaldo. He is then sent off and England lose on penalties. 2010, round of 16 this time, Germany. Again, the Germans surge ahead to a 2-0 lead, but the momentum shifts heavily and England scored 2 goals in under a minute, and it evens the match. Only issue was the second was disallowed. Why? Negligence. Lampard struck a fierce shot off the crossbar, the ball clearly bounced off it and it crossed the line, but the goal was not given. Life really does come full circle sometimes, you know? England were very clearly on top at this point, and I remember watching this match. If that goal was allowed, who knows what could have happened. Anyway, they were visibly deflated after this ruling and went on to lose 4-1. 2014, the worst finish ever. Knocked out after losing their first 2 matches. All of these exits and their accompanying performances were unique, and also uniquely embarrassing. There were of course common themes over the years when it came to why these losses occurred. Where's the unity in the squad? Of course, in reference to the fact that several players have admitted to favoring club football and the bonds they have with their domestic teammates over the national team. Why does the midfield lack any sort of creativity? Why a functioning midfield can be produced with Frank Lampard, Paul Scholes, Steven Gerrard, Michael Carrick, Joe Cole, and Owen Hargreaves at your disposal? Why is Wayne Rooney not scoring? Why does every England keeper always make a highly pressured silly mistake? Will it ever come home? Again, hope had gone out the window, but maybe, just maybe, things would soon be different. A group stage exit in 2014 must have felt like the closest thing to relegation that the English FA Higher Cup could think. An embarrassing exit from the 2016 Euros against Iceland in the round of 16 didn't help much either. 2018 World Cup. Gareth Southgate was up next following this debacle and was looking to rewrite his own fortunes with the national team. A man that was in England's 1996 Euro squad. The same player that missed the crucial pen that left England eliminated that time around. And he did do a lot to get his team on the front foot. In 2018, England put out their joint best performance at a World Cup since winning in '66 by matching their exploits from 1990, a semi-final appearance. And I guess there were a few reasons why England did so well. Recognizing that the midfield was certainly England's weakest area, Southgate focused on defense and having options in deep areas. 5 players at the back meant they weren't short of cover when under threat. In front of the defense was a holding midfielder, and 4 attackers adept at the counter. The attackers were also in central areas and pressed relentlessly out of possession. This helped with the midfield battles that they so poorly lost in recent times. There was also the increase in set-piece proficiency. 9 of the 12 goals scored in Russia came from a dead ball situation. And then perhaps the most important changes were a visible increase in 2 things. 1. The levels of accountability present amongst each player, and 2. How unified the team was. Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea. From the outside looking in, it looked like these players were actually friends and wanted to be around each other. And in any team sport, that's important. Even though it didn't come home, spirits were high once more. 2022 World Cup. England went a step further in the following major competition, their first ever finals appearance in the Euros. This was met with a loss to the Italians on pens, but again, there was a lot to be hopeful for. And with the emergence of a crop of extremely gifted players, there was reason to buy into the hype. Jude Bellingham, Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, Phil Foden, and more. Things were looking promising. Suddenly, the midfield was arguably their strongest asset. Players like Marcus Rashford, Jack Grealish, and Trent Alexander-Arnold were bench options. 6-1 against Iran in their 2022 World Cup opener raised expectations even more. Some very calm and composed showings from the guys here, especially from Jude Bellingham, who is somehow 19. The remainder of the group stage matches weren't as dazzling. Failure to take control left them vulnerable on a few occasions, but the job was completed in the end, no harm done. Senegal in the round of 16 was another case where the team was looking fragile in the beginning and grew into the match. A 3-0 scoreline was deserved, but Senegal will likely feel hard done after their early showing. France in the quarterfinals is where things get a bit sticky. I personally didn't expect England to play with as much authority as they did in large portions of the match, especially against the reigning champions, no less. But they did. But knockout football is about moments, and France took theirs. Even after being awarded a penalty in the dying minutes of regular time, they could only watch as the French celebrated a 2-1 victory. England out in the quarterfinals again. Hope? It's almost become customary for England to fall short at major tournaments at this point. After all, the team has only won 1 major tournament in its entire existence. The vast majority of teams haven't even come close to doing that. But many teams can't claim to be inventors of modern football, nor do they boast the richest, most watched, and most followed football league on the planet. There is still a lot to be hopeful for if you're an England supporter. A new golden generation is here, and many of the players I mentioned above will be in their mid-20s come the next World Cup. They will likely get better and become even more fluid. Time will tell. Before we wrap this one up, I wanted to circle back to the question posed at the start. Will it ever come home? Honestly, I think so. I think it must at some point. Maybe I'm optimistic, maybe I'm deluded, who knows? They have the talent and the infrastructure. Let's see if these can someday convert into actual results. Do you guys think it'll ever come home? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you guys next time.